Welcome back to Money with Jacob every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. This is where you send to me your money questions and I will answer them as if they were my own. And I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. In fact, I have no financial license of any kind at all. All I have is a simple philosophy which has got me to where I am today. 28 years old, over $700,000 in a stock portfolio, and 100% debt free. So if you have any money questions, you want some simple philosophy applied to them, aka my opinion, be sure to write me at jacobbuildswealth@gmail.com. There is my email. And feel free to write me some questions in the comments section too. I might also get around to those. So we got two questions today. We're going to kick it off with question number one coming from Chris. Chris writes, my wife and I are both 28. We're hoping to buy a home and start having kids in 2 years from now after we're 30. To save for the down payment, we'd probably have to stop contributing to our 401ks for a while, and I'm not sure how I feel about pausing retirement investing. On top of that, I'm not sure if we could afford for my wife to stop working after we have our first child. Financially, we make about $110,000 after tax. I make $70,000. She makes $40,000. We have no debt. We spend $2,000 a month on rent. We have $35,000 in our 401ks and a $20,000 emergency fund. What would you do in our position? Thanks, Chris. I love this question. You're about to have your first child. That's so exciting. You're about to make a grandparent out there. I don't know who has grandparents, whether you do on your side or she does on her side. I don't know which one of your parents are around still, but I'm sure they're going to be very happy to be grandparents. They might be even more excited to be grandparents than you are to be parents, but this is super exciting. You got a 2-year plan. I love people with a plan. You're not just drifting away in the wind. You have a plan for your life. And to be honest, I think you could actually afford to have kids right now. I don't think you could get into the house like you want to right now, and your wife definitely wouldn't be able to leave her job. But you're in a really good financial position to start having kids right now. But I respect the 2-year plan. I respect the idea that you got. You want to get in that house first. You want to get your wife out of there. So let's create a plan together. I am going over to a blue chalkboard of mine. I love my blue chalkboard. And let's talk through your financial situation and see what we can do. So we got your income right here at $9,166 a month. That's $110,000 a year. You're bringing in $5,833 of that, Chris, and then your wife is bringing in $3,333. So there's that $70,000 and $40,000 a year. You're saving and investing $1,500 a month. That is 16% of your income. That's a good number. I always say, like, just a general rule of thumb, anyone under the age of 35 only needs to be saving minimum 15% of their income. So you're doing the minimum, you're good. Your expenses are $7,666 a month, which comes out to $91,000 a year. That's $2,000 a month on rent, $24,000 a year, and you're spending $5,666 a month, which is $68,000 a year. I do put this little pondering emoji, not because I care what you're spending your money on, but I think that if you're wanting to get into a bigger house over the next 2 years or 3 years, whenever you go to buy your house and you want to set yourself up financially better for your wife to leave her job and you're trying to live off a single income these next few years, we're probably going to want to cut this spending back. But for now, keep doing what you're doing. Then you got this 401k, $35,000. And this is where I say you can pause your investing. Do not worry about this. The $35,000 in your 401k, you can't even get this money out until you're 60 years old. If we just leave this $35,000 in there for the next 32 years, by the time you're 60, when you can actually touch this money, without contributing another dollar again, it compounds out to $738,000. We can pause the investing into the stock market, into your 401k, so you can save up money for a house. You're just trading investing into one asset, into investing for another asset. That's okay. You're trading off an asset for an asset. Don't worry about it. Do not stress out about it. You're only pausing your investing journey for 1, 2, 3 years as you save up for that house. And then you're going to start contributing back to your 401k again in the future. So you're still going to have millions in your 401k by the time you go to retire, and you're going to have a home someday. So don't worry about that at all. Now, the last thing here is we got this emergency fund. $20,000. Your expenses are $7,666 a month. This emergency fund covers about 3 months of expenses. That's totally good there. Everything checks out. You've been really diligent and on a solid plan, Chris. You and your wife, kudos to you all. This is great. So we want to buy a house in 2 years, maybe in 3 years, but let's go with 2 years. It sounds like in 2 years, when you're 30s, whenever you're thinking about doing the baby make-in, and then it'll take about 8 months to finally get that baby. So in that time frame is whenever we're looking to get the house. So, and then your wife to leave her job, I'm assuming by the time she has that child. So that's in like 3 years. So let's create a 2-year plan here. And this is what I'm thinking. We got a savings and investing plan of $1,500 a month. Right now you're investing $1,500 a month into that 401k, 16% of your income. $1,500 a month for the next 2 years would give you $36,000 down payment. So we're going to use that down payment to buy a home. Your current income is $9,166 a month or $110,000 a year. And the rule of thumb is you should buy a home that's only 25% of your entire take-home pay. And that will include your HOA fees, taxes, things like that. And you want to have 20% down for the home. So if we were calculating this using your current income, $9,166, you'd be buying a lot bigger house than what we're actually going to buy, because we actually need to be planning for you to be living off a single income whenever the baby comes. And then your mortgage is actually only going to be calculated based off of your own single income of $5,833 a month. Your income is going to go down from that $110,000 a year to only $70,000 a year. So the cost of the home that you can afford, 25% of $5,833 a month plus your down payment, you're looking at about a $170,000 home. That would be a $1,458 monthly payment, but that would include all of your expenses. So I want to show you, this is a compound interest calculator. No, it's not. This is a mortgage calculator. Sorry for the mishap. This is a mortgage calculator. The home value, this is what we're going to break down. We're going to put in a $36,000 down payment on the home value of $170,000. We do 15-year fixed mortgages because we hate debt on this channel. This is the only type of debt that I think is okay. It's a mortgage to get into a home. You're trading your rent for your house. That's okay, but we want the least amount of debt as possible for the least amount of time as possible. So that's why I do 15-year fixed. Interest rates are about 6%. So your actual mortgage itself is only going to be about $1,131. Your property taxes are going to account for some of your spending every month, or you're going to have to set that aside every month. Your home insurance, your HOA fees. This would be that total monthly payment about $1,512. It's just a little bit more than 25% of your take-home pay. So this is okay, but you're only looking at a $170,000 house with a $36,000 down payment. And this is where I want to really start thinking back of like, do you need to be spending as much money as you're spending right now? You're spending $5,600 a month, $68,000 a year, not including rent. Do you need to be spending that much money right now? Or do you want to have a bigger house? Because if your wife leaves her job, we can't do anything about her not having that extra income coming in every month, but we can save up a bigger down payment from now to the time that you go buy your house. And that could afford you a much bigger home in the future. So let's look at some bigger houses. What could you really afford if you save up more money? So we got your single income of $5,833 a month, $70,000 a year. If you save and invest $2,000 a month, that would give you a $48,000 down payment. That would then afford you a $180,000 home, where you could then afford total expenses of like $1,500 a month. Same that you'd be paying now. We looked at a $170,000 home. You'd be paying about $1,500 a month once we include all those HOA fees, home insurance, and everything. So you would get a bigger house, same payment. Savings and invest, $2,500 a month. That would give you a down payment of $60,000 a year, or over the next 2 years. That would give you the ability to buy a $190,000 home. Again, we would still be looking at about $1,500 a month in total payments. Then lastly, if you can save and invest $3,000 a month, really cut your spending back right now from $5,600 a month. Cut it back so you can start saving an additional $1,500. So ask yourself, can we save and invest, or can we spend only $4,000 a month right now instead of $5,600 a month? If you can save and invest $3,000 a month. That would give you a down payment of $72,000, and then you would have a $200,000 home that you would be able to afford, where you'd be spending $1,500 a month in total payments every single month, just as if you'd have bought the $170,000 home. So the only way to get a bigger home, if your wife is going to be leaving her job, is you're going to have to save up more money now for a down payment. We don't want more than 25% of your entire take-home pay going to a house, because if you start spending more than that on a house, all of your money goes to a house and you can never leave. All of your money's just going to your house. You don't have money to go out. You don't have any money anymore for vacations. You're going to have very little money to invest, because all of your money is going to go into your house. And if all you can afford is your house and nothing else in your life, that is what we call house poor, where you got a big house, but you're pretty poor. So we don't want you to be house poor. The only way for you to get a bigger house is if you save up more money between now and the time that you go to buy the house, that down payment. Now, can your wife afford to leave her job when the baby comes? Can you afford to be on a single income? So the answer is yes. I think you are going to be able to, but we're going to have to diligently plan here. So your current income is $9,166 a month. We're cutting that down here to the single income $5,833 a month. That's $70,000 a year. If we think about how much you're spending right now, you're spending $7,666 a month. You're making $5,833 a month on single income. That would be a hard no. You wouldn't be able to afford a lifestyle you wouldn't be able to afford your current lifestyle if your wife left her job. You would be in the hole $1,800 a month. So we have to figure out ways to cut back your spending. Your lifestyle is going to have to be cut back if your wife wants to leave her job, or you're going to have to go figure out a way to make $40,000 more a year. That could be possible. I don't know. But if you could do that, then everything's A-okay. So let's say, though, you're only going to be making your $70,000 a year. You're not planning on increasing your income by $40,000 a year. We have to make sure that as our housing expense comes in over the next few years, that we have that set aside. And then we're also still going to be investing 15% of our income, because once we get the down payment for this house saved up, once you get the house, we do need to go back to contributing to our 401k. So if you're making $5,833 a month, you're going to be having a housing cost of $1,500 a month, as we already figured out how much you can afford for a home. And then you're going to be investing 15% of your income, which is $875 a month. That gives you a total between your housing and your investing of $2,375. Your income is $5,833. Your investing in your house is going to take up $2,375. Those are like non-negotiables for me. We have to pay our home payment, and then we have to invest 15%. If you subtract that from your income, that's going to give you $3,458 a month by the time that your child comes and your wife leaves her job. Can you afford to live on $3,458 a month? I feel like you probably can, but this is going to be a big cutback from your current lifestyle. So you're going to have to say, do I want to cut my lifestyle back so my wife can afford to be at home? Your wife's going to have to be a part of that conversation too. Do you all want to cut that lifestyle back so she can be at home? If you do, I think you can afford this. And if you're not sure, then in 2 years from now, whenever you go to do the baby making, what you can do is just start pretending like you don't have your wife's income. Just start living off of your income only. Go through like a test drive of it. Can we live off of $5,833 every single month? Do it for 3 months. And if you can do it for those 3 months, then you know for sure, hey, we met all of our bills. We were able to save everything. We were able to invest. Just do that test drive, and that will give you the actual answer if you can afford it or not. But that is my answer, Chris. Congratulations. In 2 years, we're both going to be 30. I'm looking to have kids in 2 years too, so I totally resonate with this. I'm super excited for you all. I hope this helped out. All right, going on to question number 2, coming from Heath. Heath has a long one, so hold on, folks. I'm 29 and I feel completely stuck. 3 years ago, I started my own business doing door-to-door sales for home security equipment and took out a small business loan. I still owe about $50,000 on it. The problem is the business has never really took off. After taxes and expenses, I only make around $30,000 a year from it. I've been living on credit cards to fill the gap and now have about $30,000 in low interest credit card debt. On top of that, I have $40,000 in student loans from my environmental science degree, which realistically I don't think would earn me more than $60,000 a year if I went back to that field. Of the $50,000 business debt, $30,000 is tied up in a truck that's also my personal vehicle, which I could sell for maybe $25,000. The rest was spent on marketing and equipment that's long gone. I do have $20,000 in savings, but that's it. Between the business not working, the student debt, and the credit cards piling up, I honestly don't know what to do anymore. Should I try to save the business or just cut my losses and start over? This is an absolute mess, Heath. There's no business to save, man. Like, you're losing money. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but you're losing money. You can't save this business. I think you should have probably given up on this about over a year ago, but you're here. We're still here. We're here in the spot. We can definitely fix this. I don't think this is near as bad as you think it is. If I calculate all this up just off the top of my head, we're looking at over $100,000 of debt. That sounds really bad. You got some assets. We're going to be able to figure this out. But before we dive into it, man, I want you to learn from this mistake. And that is 96% of businesses fail within the first 10 years. There was a 4% chance that your business was going to succeed whenever you took this off. This is why I always say, never start a business with money that isn't yours. Because more than likely your business is going to fail. I know we go into starting businesses with good intentions. We say this is a good idea. We all swing for the fences. We got big hopes, we got big dreams, but statistically we are going to fail. And whenever we fail, it's okay. It's okay to start a business. It's okay to fail. But it's not okay whenever we then owe over $50,000 freaking dollars. We have no money to our name, and then we have to start living off credit cards, adding up another $30,000. That's whenever you get yourself into a big mess, and it's not okay to fail. And then, just to be realistic, you should have never started a business whenever you had $40,000 of student debt anyways. Nobody is in a position to start their own business if they still have debt. You need to get rid of all of your debt first. Student loans, any credit cards, any mortgage or anything before you go start up your own business. Because to have a good business succeed, you need to have a clear mind. You need to be thinking clearly. And whenever you got payments on your back, like student loans, you're not thinking about what's best for the business. You're thinking about, I need to get my payments. I have to make money at whatever cost it is. And you're not always in the best state of mind. You're not always thinking clearly. So that's in the past. We got to learn from these mistakes. We're going to move forward, Heath. But please don't ever start a business again whenever you first have debt, and don't ever start a business whenever you don't have the money to start one. That is a recipe for failure, and you have failed, sir. So let's get on with the plan. There are 6 steps to the American dream, Heath. And we only need to focus on the first 3 because we need to get you out of debt. Once you're out of debt, we can start focusing on getting to the American dream. But you're on step -1 of these 6. So the first step is create a budget. I don't know if you're on a budget, but if you aren't, you need to get on one so you can see exactly how much money is coming in and how much money is coming out. You laid out a pretty detailed story here about where you are financially, so you might be on a budget, but if you're not, get on a budget. Number 2, we only need $1,000 in savings. You have $20,000 right now in savings. We're going to try to get that from down $19,000 to only $1,000 to cover your immediate emergencies. I know you probably have that $20,000 set aside for some type of an emergency. Brother, you are an emergency. You're in a financial emergency right now. We need that $19,000. We're dropping you down to 1. The last thing is pay off all your debt. We're going to do a method here called the debt snowball method. This is where we list off all of your debts from smallest to largest, and we're going to pay them off in that order. The reason we do this, I don't even care about the interest rates. The reason we do this is because once you pay out the smallest loan, you get momentum, you feel good about yourself, and then you want to move on to the next one. We gamify it. So that's why we're going to go from smallest to largest. So let's go over to my blue chalkboard, Heath. Let's get you out of debt. Let's get you back on track, brother. This is a bad position you're in. We are not saving this business because there's nothing to save. So we are looking at you, Heath, right here. You got debt. You got credit cards, smallest debt right now, $30,000. You got student loans, $40,000. You got that small business loan, $50,000. Total debt, $128,000, man. This stings. But we got some assets. There is a silver lining here. You got a truck worth $25,000 that you can sell right now. You got savings, $20,000. You got total assets, $45,000. You got yearly expenses. It sounds like $40,000. You mentioned that your business is bringing in 30 grand, and then you got $10,000. Sounds like every single year on those credit cards, another $30,000. Sounds like your yearly expenses are 40 grand. So what we're going to do here, Heath, we're going to go and get rid of as much of this debt right now as possible. That credit card, we are dropping that from $30,000 down to $0. We are erasing that by we're selling the truck. $25,000 gone. That takes $25,000 off that $30,000 credit card debt. Your savings, you have $20,000 in savings. We're using $5,000 of that and finishing off the credit card. Credit card, zero, get out of here, nada, goodbye. Student loans, you have $40,000. We're gonna take another $9,000 of savings from your savings. Get those out of here, goodbye. Your student loans go down to $31,000, and then you still have the small business loan for 50 grand. We just cut off $39,000 of debt. You got total debt now of $81,000. How we did that? We sold the truck. Get the truck. You still need a car though. So with your savings of this $20,000, we got rid of $5,000 of it, sold it to the credit card. Now we're down to $15,000. We took another $9,000 of it, put it towards those student loans, got your student loans down to $31,000. That leaves you with $5,000 or $6,000. With that $6,000 from your savings, we bought you a car. We're buying you a $5,000 car. That's all you need. You don't need anything nice. You don't need a $25,000 truck. Our number one priority is getting out of debt right now, Heath. That is it. Not about what we drive. So we buy a $5,000 car. You keep $1,000 in emergency for savings. That leaves you with total assets of $6,000 a year. You got yearly expenses of $40,000. Basically, you need to go get a real job. I don't know what you've been doing in this other job. I don't know if you haven't been working hard. I don't know if you've been working your butt off and you just got into the wrong industry or what, but you're going to go get a real job now. You mentioned that you can get $60,000 in your environmental science field, and you actually talked it down like it's not a whole lot of money, but brother, it's twice as much as you're making today. So I can tell math isn't your strong suit, Heath. But man, we got to up this income. So go get this $60,000 job. If you do that, you got $40,000 expenses. That gives you $20,000 a year, and you have $81,000 of debt. That would take you 4 years to pay off this $81,000, and that's not even including interest. So, I mean, we're probably talking 4.5 to 5 years, including the interest. I don't know about you, but that sounds like way too long. We're not getting out of debt. You're not getting out of debt until you're in your 30s. So I also agree with you though. Like, you probably need to get another job that's not this environmental science job, or you need to get that job and be working a second job. I don't know what you're going to do. If you're doing door-to-door sales, I would say you have good sales experience. You can probably go get a sales job somewhere. I've been selling software making over $100,000. I started off entry level making 90. So there's a good start. Go look in the software field. Start doing sales. You have sales experience. You didn't just go into a financial hole and completely lose yourself. You have learned things through this. You are still a marketable, valuable, skilled person. I think you can make more than $60,000 a year. Probably go look in something in sales, medical devices, software, hardware, furniture. I don't know, but make more than 60. You can probably make 70, 80, even $100,000 with the skill set you have in sales. And we can get this debt paid off a lot faster. So this is your plan to get out of debt, Heath. I'm sorry you're here, man. I hope you learned a lesson from this. Debt sucks. Never go back into it again once you get this out. And yeah, that was it. That was Money with Jacob, coming to you every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to email your questions down below at jacobbuildswealth@gmail.com. And I will see you next Tuesday.